Hi and welcome. My name is Amon. I'm one of the marketing directors here at Booking.com, and today I'm joined by Valentina Bonzi, one of our security directors. Hi, Valentina.
Hi, good morning.
So today is a conversation all about online security and any impacts that we have related to it from the coronavirus. But first, before we begin, I would love for us all to get to know Valentina. So Valentina, the great first question for you this morning. How would you describe your job to a stranger walking down the street?
Yeah, I would say that I protect the data that partner and customer give to Booking.com from online criminals, so anyone trying to steal it.
And so maybe for all of the people viewing the video, what would you say was the career-defining moment that got you into the role that you are today?
Yeah, it feels a bit like an accident, right? So I was asked by our then CISO, the Cyber Information Security Officer, to just join his team because he was trying to scale up the security team. It was a fairly small team back then. And he thought that my experience in leading engineering team at Booking for a while would be helpful to the team. So that's how it all started.
Oh my gosh. So now you've found yourself in security as a topic. I would say that you've probably made yourself quite aware of kind of cyber criminals, how they usually operate. But I'm curious, if we think about kind of the coronavirus pandemic globally, has that impacted the way that these criminals are working online?
It definitely did. So there's a few things that have obviously changed, right? So there's a lot more people working remotely, which of course has changed the array of tactics that they can use because of that. And then the second thing is there's a lot more people, unfortunately, which are like unemployed. And so the cyber criminals are really trying to exploit these groups of people to, basically work for them, right? And then the last thing I would say is that people are all like, in general, like the people that the criminals would target are all, very scared. There's a lot of empathy or a lot of uncertainty. And what they try to do is to basically use this fear, this uncertainty as a tactic, right? As a way to get people attention.
I mean, it's such a sad thought that people are capitalizing kind of on the uncertainty and the fears at this time. If you put yourself kind of in the partner's shoes, who will be watching this video, what would you be looking out for? Like you're at a property, you're a manager of maybe 100 rooms. What would you look out for?
Yeah, so the way that we see criminals trying to attack partners is still roughly the same tactics. Right? So they still use a lot of phishing and social engineering. So they call up partners pretending to be Booking or pretending to be somebody they trust and ask for sensitive information. But the thing that we observe across, I think, the whole industry, not just with Booking, is that there has been no decrease in the amount of attacks as you would expect because there's less people booking, we would be less of a target. Well, we haven't really seen that, right? So the level of attempts is still quite high. And then the second thing I would say, like, be very aware when somebody sends you a content that is related to COVID and, reports about COVID or other things, and they ask you to do actions because of that. They're really trying to exploit this theme as a way to get your attention.
I mean, it's just incredible. And when you talk about, bookings going down, you wouldn't expect as much, and we still see the same. I think those signs are very helpful. Are there anything else that you would say, look, I'm sitting in this hotel, I'm a manager, I'm thinking about my team members that are interacting on a daily basis that you think that partners should think about?
Yeah, so what we're seeing, I think, also by talking to partners in general in e-commerce, not only in travel, is that this COVID theme keeps coming back, right? So I would say an example of this would be somebody calling your hotel and saying that they have like a COVID-19 related update and you should take an immediate action, right? And because of that, they would try to say, well, this is an exceptional circumstance, so please give us your login details, right? Or details we would normally never ask over the phone. So these are some of the things that we're definitely seeing. And in general, I think I would say pay attention to like who's picking up the phone, right? What attackers tend to do is to target people that maybe are, when there's less people around them, so they cannot check with somebody else if what they're being asked to do is okay. But also it might be, late at night or in the weekend when there's this feeling that if somebody calls you late at night or in the weekend, this must be urgent, right? So you have to act on it. So they really try to exploit this false sense of urgency to make you do things you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing if you think about it, playing on the false sense of security, it has to happen now, etc. I guess what I'm hearing is a lot about how partners should react to different scenarios. And so I'm curious in terms of those partners who want to get ahead and maybe want to prevent these situations occurring in their business. Is there anything that can be done to kind of prevent or mitigate those kind of scenarios?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that partners can do. So first of all, you have to remember that first there's a general after sensitive information, and credit cards is the most sought after target. So I would say if you can avoid, of course, printing credit cards, but also try to use payments by booking. That would be one way in which you don't have to worry about credit cards at all, right? Because we would handle that flow for you. Second thing is be very vigilant of your accounts, right? So basically how you secure them. There's two things you need to pay attention to here. One is multi-factor authentication. So making sure that the phone or the device you have associated with your account, when you change the phone, you go and update the account right away so that phone, the old phone doesn't stay there. And also the last thing is make sure that everybody in the property uses their own account. That gives you a higher level of control, right? Because you can say, well, I'm the owner, therefore I should be able to see a lot more things than other people in the property can. And that really allows you to avoid this late night scams when you have somebody that's not maybe very experienced, but if they don't have access to the information the fraudsters are after, then it's a lot easier to protect it.
Right. So I'm hearing throw away the password book, the signs in the property, make sure that you have every person that needs to access the account with their own logins ahead of time can really, it's a big, a small investment of time for big impact potentially in the future. Okay. It's really interesting. We think about it obviously from a partner perspective, but booking must have a role to play in also helping this scenario not become a thing for a property, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do believe that trust is at the heart of our platform. We need to ensure that the platform is secure and trustworthy so that customer and partners both can feel safe in using it.
And so I'm curious then, you say that trust is super important for us. It's kind of the core of what we do. So how would you say Booking's investing in protecting not only, I guess, customers, but also our partner audience?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a team, right, of specialized people that looks at these topics every day, right? So we invest a lot in terms of human resources and technology in this area. So what we do for the partners is that we have this team that is kind of always monitoring the activity on their accounts, right, and tries to detect if there is anything suspicious, anything that shouldn't be happening. And then, of course, we've implemented two-factor authentication, right? And we keep looking at other measures that can help partners stay secure. And similarly for our payment flow, right? That's one of the flows that we obviously watch out for the most. And we really try to make sure that this flow is not impacted by the activity that criminals are trying to put through. So we basically, scan for fraudulent activity also in how payments are being made, how bookings are being made, because that's crucial for both partner and customers. And then, that's in general what we do for partners, right? And then we also encourage partners, of course, to collaborate with us, right? So we do as much monitoring, as much, investigations as possible. But if you see something odd going on with your account or with your property page, then please report it through report@booking.com. That's key for us to also get this feedback from the partners directly.
And I can report anything. So even if don't doubt, just send it in. Would rather know than not, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I also know that kind of our global partners look to us, right? I hear that when I talk to partners on a frequent basis. So given kind of your knowledge or expertise, how would you kind of inform partners on kind of the longer term effect on the changes in cyber criminals, how they're acting, and kind of this pandemic and kind of environment that we're working in now?
Yeah, so I think the biggest trend, right, is this working from anywhere, right? This is a thing that is here to stay. Will likely be here even after the pandemic, now that we've kind of learned how to do this. So this will significantly change the tactics that both the companies have to use for protecting themselves, as well as the criminals are using to attack them, right? So we'll have to become a lot smarter about not defining the office as one physical space, but so be more
Amazing.
open to that. Yeah.
Okay. And I really like to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it. Okay, we talk a lot about change, and I think that's what we spend a lot of time talking about. What's not changing? So for all of the viewers, what has not changed that you need to keep top of mind?
Yeah, I think the three key steps that we described before about keeping yourself secure are still the same. So try to outsource as much as possible your payments, to us. Using two-factor authentication properly, making sure you can, you always control the devices that have access to your account, and then having every individual use their own account is still key, and then report anything suspicious, right? So report at Booking.com still is the key way to let us know if something fishy is going on.
Incredible. Thank you, Valentina. I think it's been a great high-level insights for everyone, and so thank you so much for joining me. For all of our viewers, for more information on how Booking.com protects cybersecurity for not only yourself, but also our customers, head to partner.booking.com. We have a dedicated space under our solutions tab for you. Valentina, thanks for joining me, and thanks for everyone that's viewing this, and we'll see you for our next one.
Thank you. Bye.